This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, Vanishri. Good evening, Venkat, Molly. So you've changed your name, huh? Now you'll show us your long name. Good evening, Harsh. Good evening, Anushka, Vanishri, Harsh Kumar, Parnika, Anjali. Good evening, Shama, Aditi, Prateek, Saumitra. Good evening, Yash. So today we are going to cover some basic concepts of compound interest. Okay, so we'll start from the scratch only, like what is the compound interest and how we derive this formula and all. That's it. And we'll study and we'll learn 2-3 tricks as well for the basic tricks only. Okay, so let's start. So initially, this interest, if I talk about interest only, I told you 2 types of interest we need to study in a quants. First one is simple, second one is compound. Okay, so today we are going to study about compound interest. Now if I talk about compound interest, okay, so basically compound interest is nothing but it is interest on interest. That means whatever the amount you are lending. So suppose you're lending 1,000 rupee. This is the basic that I'm starting with. So 1,000 rupees I'm lending and 10% is the interest. 10% rate is going to be my interest. Okay. So this will be 100 rupee, right? If I take out 10% of 1,000 as my interest, so that is nothing but 100 rupee. How will I write it? 10 upon 100 into 1,000. 2020 get cancelled out. This will become 100 rupee. So I can say this 100 rupee is going to be my interest. No issue, Vanishri. So if I talk about this thing, so let's say if I'm taking it on simple basis, so can I say my interest will remain 100 for every year? So for my first year, if I talk about only simple, Abhi, right now I'm telling you about this for this thing only, 100 rupee for first year. For even second year, it is going to be 100 rupee. For third year also, it is going to be 100 rupee. And for so n years, it is going to be 100 rupees only. But if I talk about compound interest, so compound interest is totally different from simple interest, and that is why it is one of the favorite topics of the examiner, because so many students face difficulty while solving questions based on compound interest. No issues, Pratap. Whosoever first class it is, no issues. I'm just discussing this topic from the basics only. Okay, so no need to worry. Now, if I talk about compound interest, when I was saying it is interest on interest, so let's take 1,000 rupee again, 1,000 rupee, and I take it on 10% only again. So as discussed previously, 100 rupees is going to be my interest. Okay. Now here's a twist. Now when we talk about simple interest, our principal amount will remain same. Principal amount remains same in case of SI, which is what? Simple interest. But this principal amount will be changed in case of compound interest. Changed. Now, how we are saying this compound interest or principal changes? For example, this is, for example, 100 rupees my interest, total amount is going to be my 1100. Now, if I take 10% of this, so this principal changes is this only. What I meant to say that from second year onwards, and for my second year, my principal is going to be 1100, not 1000 rupee. This 1000 rupee principal was in the case of SI, but now my principal is changed to 1100 in case of CI. So that is why we see this variation about the principal value, or why the amount is different from the simple interest, is just because principal changes. Okay. So if I take 10% of 1100, 10% of 1100, it will comes out to be 110. So if I take 2 years, if I talk about 2 years compound interest, so for first year, my interest was 100 rupee. But for my second year, my interest was 110 rupee. So if I talk about this thing, total 2 years, for total 2 years, my interest is 210 rupee. If I talk about simple interest, my 100 rupee is going to be my interest for first year, and for second year as well, it is going to be 100 rupee. That means my simple interest for 2 years is 200. So can you see this difference? I was earning, or I'm getting extra 10 rupee on compound interest. So this extra amount is what, every lender wants. Even if I am lending or you are lending someone the amount, you'll be getting something extra. You want something extra from him, right? So if simple interest I'm lending him, I'll be getting 200 rupee. This 10 rupee extra is what? Compound interest. Okay, the total amount is what? Compound interest. So this is the basic why we are, spending our time to study about compound interest, because we are getting something extra on interest. So interest on interest is what compound interest is all about. Okay. So basics, let's talk about the basics first. So when I say amount, it is always principal amount plus either SI or CI. This will be valid for both the cases. If you are studying about simple interest, then it is amount is equals to P plus SI. If it is about compound interest, then amount is again principal plus CI. So A is equals to P plus CI. You need to remember this thing, right? Now, if I talk about the first year case, only first year. If I talk about only first year, so this comes out to be A is equals to P plus R% of P, right? This is what? R% of P. In other words, I can rewrite it as P plus PR upon 100. Yes or no? For first year, if I'm taking this thing. Now this P will comes out and this will become 1 plus R upon 100. So this is how generally we are deriving this formula, where this formula of amount is P into 1 plus R upon 100. If I take about n years, then it will be for n years. That is why we are putting up this thing. So general formula for compound interest, this is for amount. Okay, this is not the formula for CI. This is the formula of amount. So A is equals to principal into 1 plus rate. This R stands for rate upon 100, and this N is nothing but time. Any problem in understanding till here? We are going very basics thing. So any problem in understanding till here? Okay. So basically, suppose for example, if I charge you if I charge amount from you that is R1% for first year, for second year R2%, and for third year R3%. Okay, so basic thing again, A will become what? This will be P into what? 1 plus R1 upon 100. Now, this principal amount, whatever the value I'm getting after the solving this thing, will act as a principal for this amount. So 1 plus R2 upon 100. Now, whatever the value I'll be getting after this thing, this will act as a principal amount for the third value. So 1 plus R3 upon 100. So this is what the general formula is all about. Here my percentage is different, R1, R2 and R3, right? If it is different, then we can rewrite it as like this only, R1, R2, R3. If it is same, then we can see that 1 plus R upon 100 is common, and whatever the number we have raised it, for example 3, that 3 will come here. Okay, so this is how, again, the way of representing a general formula is like this only. Okay, the actual formula is this one. If it is charging R1% for first year, then it is R1 upon 100. For second year, R2 upon 100. For third year, R3 upon 100. If R is common or R is same for all the years, then this will become this. A is equals to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power 3. Okay, so this is our basic formula for amount and compound interest. Now, if I talk about CI, so in lame terms, we can say CI is equals to A minus P. From the first thing that I told you, A is equals to P plus CI. This will come here with the minus sign. So this will become A minus P, right? So CI is nothing but, what is the formula for this? P 1 plus R upon 100 minus P. So this is the basic thing how you will be solving compound interest. But for questions perspective, I'll be telling you a different approach how to solve such questions. Okay. So this is the very basic thing of CI. Now we'll see variations. What kind of variation we'll generally see in compound interest questions. So case number one. Case number one is what? When interest is compounded half yearly. So this is the general term that we'll generally see in the question, half yearly / semi-annually. Okay, these are the terms that we generally see in our questions, like interest is compounded half yearly or semi-annually. So in this case, my original formula is this P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power T or N, whatever you want to write. Now what we are doing? We are calculating our compound interest in one same year twice, or we can say 2 times. That means whatever the T is there, I need to multiply it with 2. Okay. Whatever the T, for this T is for 1 year, right? But now in 1 year only, we'll be calculating it twice, 2 times. So what we are doing will be multiplying this 2 with 2. Now let's talk about this R%. This R% is I'm calculating on yearly basis. Now if I need to calculate it, I need to again divide it by 2. Okay. So basic thing that we generally see when these type of questions arrive. So whenever this CI is compounded semi-annually or half yearly, what we'll do, we'll divide the rate by 2 and we'll multiply the time with 2. So in other words, general terms, if I can say, rate will be divided by 2 and time will be multiplied. That is 2 into time. Okay. So this is one Another thing that you'll generally see in the questions, this thing. So what we need to remember, rate will become half and time will become double. Okay. Any problem in understanding till here? Now case 2. Let's talk about case 2. So case 2 is what? Vanishri, we are calculating, like for example, 1 year. If there was 1 year initially, t time is there. Okay. So for 1 year, we'll be calculating our compound interest twice. That means we'll be taking one count and one count again. Okay. So for t time, I'll be taking 2. Okay. Or I'll be multiplying with 2. So that is why I'm multiplying my time with 2. So for 1 year, it will be 2t. For 2 years, in other words, I can say 2 into 2, that is 4 times we need to calculate. For 3 years, if I can say, we need to calculate 2 into 3, that is 6 times. This is how we generally proceed. Okay. Now, if I talk about, there is one more case when the examiner or the question is asking about interest being compounded quarterly. The question is asking interest being compounded quarterly. Now here you can see a quarter. So quarter means, for example, there are 12 months and divided by 3. That is 4 quarters. So in a year, total 4 quarters are there. Okay. So my general formula was like this one. P 1 plus R upon 100 power T. Now, when we were dividing it or we were multiplying with 2, there was 2. Or in other words, I can say in 1 year, we can calculate only 2 semi-annual years or 2 6 months time. But here, T is what? T is 4. So in this case, what I'll be doing, I'll be multiplying it with 4. That means 40. And what about the rate? There, what we were doing, we were dividing it by 2. What we'll do here, we'll divide it by 4. Okay. So this will become P into 1 plus R upon 400 par 40. This is for quarter. Okay. So we are going with the very basic things. Now let's talk about some of the common percentages that we need to keep in mind. Okay. So for example, let's take this question first. Like this question is given to us. Try to solve it, and then I'll tell you how to think about solving this question in a minimum time. Okay. Take 2 minutes and try to solve this question. Okay, so I'm getting some of the answers as 9680 and 10,684. 648, some are saying. Okay, see, if I go according to the formula, this is A. A is equals to P into 1 plus R upon 100 power 2, and for 3 years, P into 1 plus R upon 100 power 3. This is the basic thing that if I'm very new to this topic, what I'll be doing. So let's do it first this way, then I'll tell you how to approach such questions. So A is equals to P. Okay, let's see. So 8,000 into 1 plus R. What is R? R is 10%. 10 upon 100 part 2. This will be what? 8,000 into, if I cancel this 0, this will be 11 upon 10 square. So 8,000 is what? 1 to 1 upon 100. If I cancel this out, this will be 1680. Most of you are getting. Okay. If I take this value, this case, this will be again 8,000 into 1 plus 10 upon 100 whole power 3. So 8,000 into, this will be again 11 power 10 whole cube. So this will be 8,000 into 1331 on 1000. You'll cancel this thing, multiply this thing with 8. This is the amount. If I take this thing, this will be 9680 as the amount. Okay, this is the amount value. Here also the amount value will come out to be 10,648. So what you are giving to me as your answers is this value. Most of you, initially what you were doing, you were giving me this value, 9680, 10,648. But what the question is asking about the compound interest. Okay, so you need to subtract 8,000 from it. Now, why most of you were asking, sir, why? Because I told you that amount is equals to P plus CI, right? You know this value. Now question is asking about you this value, right? So this will be A minus P is equals to CI, right? So this is 9680 minus 8,000, and this is your answer, 1680, and again 10,648 minus 8,000. So these are the general mistakes that a student can commit. Okay, these are the basic things that we generally commit in the examination, either just because we can see, or like this is the very easy question, I can do it. So these are the general mistakes that we generally did. Now let's see how we can go for this question in an easier manner. Let's see this question. So initially I told you so I'll be doing this question for both SI and CI also. Okay, so I'll be taking for first year, and you just need to remember this thing as well as for other questions as well. For first year, SI and CI. Okay, so for first year, SI and CI both are R% of P. Okay, in other words, I can say RP upon 100. This is R% of P means this value. For CI also, it is again R% of P. This is also RP upon 100. Right? This is for first year I'm telling you. Now for second year. For second year, this is again SI will be R% of P again. that is rp upon 100. Now just look at this thing. My initial amount is this, my value is going to be this rp upon 100. Now I need to calculate r percent of rp upon 100. Now this is what, this is interest on interest. What I was telling you previously, interest on interest means this thing. Okay, so till here only I'll give you example for 2 years. Okay, so let's take example of 2 years. So my principal amount is 1000 rupee. My principal amount is 1000 rupee. Okay, rate is 10%. So I'll be discussing all the percentage, 3-4 percentages for SI. For first year, sorry, this will be first year. For SI, SI is 100 rupee, 10% of 1000, right? For CI, CI is again 100 rupee. So remember this thing, SI is equals to CI for first year. In first year, both simple interest and compound interest are equal. Remember this thing. Now for second year, if I talk about second year, this will be 100 rupee again. Now for compound interest, my initial or my interest is this 100 rupee. Now I'll be taking 10% on this interest. That means 100 plus 10% of interest. That means what? 110. This I told you previously as well, right? So this will be 200. This will be 210. Yes or no? Now, if I take about this thing, add both these two now. This SI for first year and second year. I need to find compound interest for 2 years, right? So 210 I'll be getting on 1000 rupee. Now if I take what is my original value, 1000 rupee. Now 210 is what percentage of 1000 rupee? Can anyone tell me? 210 is what percentage of 1000 rupee? Okay, so 21 is what I'm getting from all of you, right? Now just see this thing. Just see this thing. If I calculate 21% of 8000 rupee, what is going to be my answer? So can I say this is what I am getting as my compound interest, right? This is what my compound interest is in just 2 steps. But when I'll be able to calculate this thing, if I know this thing, 21%, right? I may be only able to solve this thing if I know this thing. Now, if I talk about CI for 3 years, CI for 3 years. Okay. Now, if I talk about this thing, let's take 1000 rupee only, this 1000 rupee. And as suggested, or as we can see previously also, I was getting my compound interest is 331. Okay. If you remember this thing, for 1000 rupee, I was getting 331 as my interest. Yes or no? How many of you will say yes, it is? That said, yes, we were getting 331 as our interest. See, in other words, also for 2 years, I know. For 2 years, I know my interest as 210, right? Now this will serve my interest and 10% of that interest, 10% of 210. So this will be what? 210 plus 21, right? Initial 100 as well, right? Take this value. For 1000 rupee, I'll be taking 10%. 10% would be 100. Yes or no? My amount or my principal value is this thing, 1100. 10% of this value, 210, right? Again, 10% of this value. Let's take this value. A is equals to 1000 into 1 plus 10 upon 100 part 3. This will be 1000 into 1 upon 11 upon 10 part 3. This will be 1000 into 1331 upon 1000. This 1000 it cancel. My amount will become 1331. This is my A value. What was my principal? 1000 rupee. A minus P is equals to 1331 minus 1000. This will be 331. Now, can you say that I was getting 331 as my interest for 3 years? Right? So 331, I was getting interest on 1000 rupee. I was getting this interest on 1000 rupee. Now, if I need to talk about 1 rupee, for 1000 rupee, I'll be getting my interest as 331. For 1 rupee, I'll be getting 331 upon 1000. For 8000 rupee, what I need to do, I just need to multiply it with 8000. That is 331 on 1000 into 8000. 3 zeros and 3 zeros will cancel out. If you solve this, you'll get 2648. Okay. So what I'll be doing, I'll be just putting up some of the fractional values. Okay. Let's do it stepwise so that you'll have a clear idea as to what we need to take in the fraction value. Okay. So let's take this value. So what I'll be doing, I'll be putting up time. Time is equals to 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Most probably questions will come from 3 years only. Okay. But if any other year will come, then procedure will remain the same. So this is time for this axis, and this will be rate for this axis. So if I talk about the 10% value, 10%, 5%, 4%. So these are three of the most common percentages that we generally see. Okay. So for 1 year, this will be this 11 upon 10. For 5, this is 21 upon 20. This will be 26 upon 25. Right? This is what 1 plus r upon 100. This is what I am actually writing over here. 1 plus 10 upon 10, 11. That is 11 upon 10. Okay. Similarly, 5 will be 5, 20. 20 plus 1, 21 in the numerator. And again, this value. Right? If I talk about the second year will become 1 to 1 upon 100. What I'm doing, I'm squaring this value. Okay. 11 upon 10 square. Again, 21 upon 20 square. So this will be what? 441 upon 400. This will be 26 upon 25 square. Okay. This will be 676 upon 625. If I talk about the 3-year, that means 1331 per 1000 rupee. For this value, 9261 upon 8000. For this value, 17576 upon 15625. This will, hardly you need to remember, but generally these things, if the question is asking about third year, then what the examiner will do, he will take this percentage limited to 10, 5, or he will give you a bigger percentage so that fraction will remain comparatively smaller. Okay. So for example, this value. So we'll be getting this value 1331 upon 1000. Now how you need to go for the compound interest? You'll get the compound interest if from numerator you'll subtract the denominator divided by the denominator. Remember this thing. Now for example, for this case, 11 upon 10. So what will be the percentage value, or what will be the compound interest? 1 out of 10. That means if 10 value is 1000 rupee or 10 units, if 10 units is 1000 rupee, I need to calculate 1 unit. 1 unit will be what? 100 rupee. Okay. This is what basically we are doing here also for second year. 21 upon 100. Right? If I go up with this logic, numerator minus denominator upon denominator, this will be 21 upon 100. This 21 is going to be my compound interest, and this will be in units. Here also 331. Okay. Now why I'm telling you this thing, because see, according to formula we all can derive it, but while applying formula it is time consuming. If we apply the formula, it is time consuming, and sometimes even suppose if the decimal part is given to you, if the question is given to in decimal, some sort of decimal, then you may not be able to solve that question. Ultimately you'll skip that question. Okay. So these are the basic things that we generally remember while solving such questions. So let's take one more concept. Okay. Now you'll be able to see, for example, SI and CI. I want answers from everyone. Okay. So this will be SI for CI, first year. So SI for first year will be R% of P, right? This will be RP upon 100. This will be also R% of P again, which is again RP upon 100, right? For second year, this is again R% of P. This is RP upon 100. And this is interest on interest. What is my interest? RP upon 100 plus again R% of RP upon 100. This will become what? RP upon 100 plus R square. Okay. R square P. So if you understand this thing, I'll be removing this 100 because it will create confusions for you all. Okay. So can I say this is RP plus R square P? Okay. Any problem in understanding till here? Any problem in understanding till here? Okay. Now what the question will generally say you or tell you that the difference between compound interest and simple interest is given to you. Question will say the difference between compound interest and simple interest for a particular year, let's say 2 years. For 2 years, it will be asking, for 3 years, it will be asking, right? Now let's take this thing. If I add this two, if I add both these two, what I'll be getting? 2PR. Here also, what I'll be getting? 2PR plus PR square, right? So for 2 years, my simple interest is nothing but 2PR. For a compound interest, it is 2PR plus PR square. Okay. Now let me give you this example. So for example, again, 1,000 rupee will be taking. 1,000 rupee I'm taking, rate will be 10% again, right? So 2PR means 2 into 1,000 into R, 10 upon 100. So this will be what? 200. This is my simple interest. If I talk about compound interest, this will be 2 into 1,000 into 10 upon 100. This will be 200 plus 1,000 into 10 upon 100 into 10 upon 100. This 20 will be cancelled and these two zeros will be cancelled. This will be 200 plus 10. This will be 210. Okay. Can you correlate these things? That means for simple interest, our interest will be 2PR. For compound interest, our interest will be 2PR plus PR square. Okay. Any problem in understanding till here? So let's take this question. Okay. Let's take this question again. This question. Find the compound interest on 8,000 rupee at 10% per annum for 2 years. So for 2 years, I know my compound interest is going to be 2PR plus PR square. My compound interest is going to be 2PR plus PR square. Now 2PR, 2 into principal, 8,000 rupee. Rate is what? 10%. Okay. So this will be 2 zeros cancel out. 160. This will be 1600, right? 1600 plus PR square. This will be 8,000 into 10 upon 100 into 10 upon 100. So 2 zeros cancel out, 2 zeros cancelled out. This will be 80 plus 80. My answer is 1680. I'm telling you, Tushar, don't worry, for 3 years as well, I'll be telling you, but 3 years is a bit tricky. That is why I'm telling you about for 2 years. Okay. Now, can you correlate? If the question is asking compound interest, we'll be following this approach. 2PR plus PR square. Whenever the question is asking about the compound interest for 2 years, always remember this thing. You don't need to derive this thing. Okay. Don't need to remember or learn this thing. Just remember whatever the year is given to you. Like for example, if the year is 2, so we'll put 2 and minus 1 PR square. Okay. Till here, everything is clear to you, everyone? Okay. So let's discuss for 3 years now. I hope everything is clear till here now for first year and second year. Now what we'll be doing, we'll be discussing. Yes, for that particular thing, it is for 2 years only. Okay. Now I'll be telling you for 3 years. So first year, second year. SI, CI again. First is R% of P, that is RP. It is again RP. It is again RP. It is what? RP plus PR square, right? Now just for third year, remember this thing. This is for third. Now third year, what we are doing. For third year also, again, my simple interest is going to be R% of P, right? This will be again PR or RP, one of the same thing. Now just remember this thing. Whenever we are calculating interest, now here what I did, I took this thing RP here and I took what? R% of RP. That means interest on interest. Now this is my interest from the previous year. So what I'll be doing, RP plus PR square. This is my previous year interest. Now what I'll be doing, I'll be putting R% of interest on interest. This is what my interest on interest. So R% of RP plus PR square. Okay. Just tell me any problem in understanding. This is my previous year interest, this thing. And what I'll be doing, I'll be taking R% on my interest. Any problem till here? Now this will be what? This will be PR, this thing I'm taking, plus PR square. Now R% of PR, this will be again what? PR square. And R% of P, this will be PR cube. Okay. Now this is basically this horrible thing, which is, very dangerous, or it is looking like this. So this will become PR plus 2PR square plus PR cube. Now just remember this thing. This is my only third year interest. This is not my cumulative interest. Whatever the value that I'm having here, this is my only third year interest. PR plus 2PR square plus PR cube. Now for all the 3 years, if I need to add it, if I add all the 3, that means I'll be adding this value. I'll be adding this value as well, and I'll be adding this value. Okay. So this will become 3PR plus 3PR square plus PR cube. Vanishri, okay. So R% of PR square. So R into PR square. I need to multiply this. Okay. So this will become PR cube, right? R is here, R is here. So R power 1 into R power 2 is equals to R power 2 plus 1. This will be R cube. Understood? So this is my complete interest for third year. 3PR plus 3PR square plus PR cube. Okay. Now, first we'll do this type of question. First we'll do its question, not this one. Not this one. Yes. So the question will be of this form. The difference between the compound interest and the simple interest on a certain sum of money at 5% per annum for 2 years is 1.50. Find the sum. Now, for 2 years only, let's talk about this thing. I told you SI for 2 years will be 2 PR. Now, let's see. If I talk about SI and if I talk about CI. So SI for 2 years will be 2 PR. For CI, it will be 2 PR plus PR square upon 100. Okay. If the question is saying about the difference value, okay, the question is saying difference, what I need to do, I need to do this value. That means CI minus SI. Always remember CI is always greater than SI. That is why what we are doing CI minus SI. So 2PR plus PR square upon 100 minus 2PR. So this will be what? 2PR gets cancelled. Difference is PR square upon 100. Okay, and this is the difference. Now you understand why I was telling you about the PR concept, because it helps in taking out the difference value. Okay. Now just apply this thing here and tell me the answer. Apply this thing here and tell me the answer. Okay, let's see. See, I'll be telling you your mistake again for this question as well. Okay. So most of you are getting your answer as 6. Now just remember this thing. Whenever this R square is there, that means R upon 100 into R upon 100. The R square meaning is this. It is not R square upon 100. No. The meaning of R square is R upon 100 and R upon 100. Multiplier. So along with the multiplied sign. Okay. So this is what? 1.5 is equals to P. P we need to find R square. R is 5 upon 100 into 5 upon 100. Right? So from here, P comes out to be 600. Okay. So now let me tell you this very interesting thing. Okay. Very interesting thing. This is what I called Pascal's triangle. Anybody heard about this particular triangle? Okay. Can anyone tell me what is the specialty about this particular Pascal's triangle? Okay, that's great, Bhavya. Right. So basically, what is the Pascal's triangle? If I take this Pascal triangle as one here, one again here, one again here. Okay. Now what I'll be doing, I'll be taking the summation of these terms. So the diagonal terms will always remain one only. Okay. The diagonal terms, or I can say this, these like the last values will always remain one. But the terms, it will be getting added. So this is how we are making this thing. So two important things that I need to tell you about this particular value is that we can correlate this thing, this Pascal triangle, in two ways. How two ways? First is whenever we need to calculate x plus y whole square or minus whole square. Okay. So this is the zero level, zeroth level. That means nothing is there. So for example, if I can write x plus y, this will be x plus y whole square. This will be x plus y whole cube. This will be x plus y whole power 4. So as you can see, the coefficient of this x square will be what? 1. Then what will be getting? 2xy. Then 1. This will be x cube plus y cube. 3x square y. 3xy square. Again, x power 4. Then 4x cube y. Then 6x square y square. Then 4xy cube. Then y power 4. So this is what the beauty of Pascal triangle is, that this middle term, this will help us in two ways. First, getting the nth power. Okay. If anyone tries to forget or just generally forgets, that they can learn this Pascal triangle, how generally we came to this conclusion. Why 2xy, why 3x square y, why 3xy square, okay, and so on. So this is the first case of Pascal triangle. Okay. Now let me tell you that its importance in compound interest. Okay. So if I talk about second year, okay, so this will be my second year. This will be my third year. This will be my first year. This is again zeroth level. No need to calculate. Okay. Or remember as well. So first, this zeroth level will always skip. This is first. So as I told you, for first year, SI is equals to CI. Okay. For second year, now just remember this thing. For second year, can you see this there? 2 and 1 here. Can you see this thing? 2 and 1 here. Yes, very good. So can I say my compound interest for second year was 2PR plus PR square? For my second year compound interest, it was 2PR plus PR square. Can you recall it? I told you that your compound interest is going to be 2PR plus PR square. Right. For third year, let's take third year. I told you your compound interest is going to be 3PR plus 3PR square plus PR cube. Can you recall it again? 3PR plus 3PR square plus PR cube. So just remember this thing. This is 2, right? So I can directly write 2PR, and this is 1 is what? PR square. Now if I see 3 here, that means 3PR. Again I see 3, that means 3PR square. Lastly 1, that means PR cube. So in generally, this is how this Pascal triangles help us to remember our compound interest. Suppose anyone forgets that what was the compound interest for 4 year, 5 year, 10 years, or n years, then we can use this Pascal triangle, okay, to get it. Generally, questions will ask from these 3 years only, maximum, mostly these 2 years, second and third year, and after that fourth year. It max this fourth year. Okay. So how we are going to start? I need to make it again. So this was my 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, okay, and so on. So this is my first year, second year, third year. Okay, how are you going to remember? Just forget this one. Need not to forget. Need not to forget this first part. Okay, this one you need to remove. Now let's talk about this thing. So first case, whenever you start with this value, so CI for second year, it will be 2PR plus PR square. That means whatever the values that it is starting, it will always start with PR. Okay, and after that PR square. That means for whatever the number we are starting with, R will raise its power. Right, Harsh? Absolutely right. Okay, so we started with 2. So for with 2, I added PR, and lastly 1 is there, so PR square. So here for 3 years. So for 3 years, I started with 3 and 3 and 1. So I started with my 3, I'll add PR. Then I am having PR square. And lastly, I'll be having PR cube. Understood this thing? Any problem in understanding till here? Is this Pascal triangle helpful in understanding this thing, compound interest funda? Okay. So let's see. See, the main purpose of for this basics class is to make you understand about these 3 things. So just two, three easy questions are there. I hope you can solve those questions. So let's see if you can solve those questions as well. There's only one concept. In question, we will have to do multiple times square and cubing of R, right? But you know, the most important part of your calculation will be the only 2 terms. 2 terms will be the only important ones. Okay, so if I say this 3PR plus 3PR square, last PR cube you can skip even. This is not a very much important because this cube is there, and after that 100 into 100 into 100 is also there. So this will, you know, very small number, very small. We can skip this thing. So that is why these 2 terms are. But for 2 years, both the terms will be equal. Very important. 2PR plus PR square. Both the terms are having equal importance. So just solve this question. This is very easy one. Try and tell me the answer. Why I can't see so many answers right now? This one is very basic question. This is not at all related to what I've told you just before this thing. This is very easy thing. Still, I can see 4 to 5 answers. What about other 30 people, 40 people? See, this question is, this is my principal value. This is saying this is my amount value. So you know the formula A is equals to P into 1 plus R upon 100, right? T is given to us, that is this. The question is asking R. See, as you know this thing, this will be 88200 upon 80,000 is equals to 1 plus R upon 100 square. Okay. 2020 cancel out. If you cancel it with 4 or 2, this will be this 1 plus R upon 100. This is very easy. I'm going with the conceptual method or the conventional method. If I root this thing, you know the root of this, what? 20, 21, 1 plus R upon 100. R upon 100 will become what? 1 upon 20. R comes out to be 100 upon 20, which will be 5. See, if we go with this thing, we know our compound interest is PR square, 2PR, sorry, plus PR square, right? This is what? 8,200 is equals to 2PR plus PR square. See, had it been 10% something, then it would have been 16,000 something, right? So I'm just telling you how to, think. That means it is lesser than 10. And even if if you're very not sure with this thing, you can calculate for 5 as well. Okay. If you calculate for 5, then directly you'll be getting this answer. So these percentages are very important. Sorry, yes, 4%, 5%, 10%. These are some of the important percentages, and even 20 as well. These 4 percentages are very important in terms of compound interest if we talk about. Okay, I've made you write percentages about these things. Just try to remember those fractional value. Okay, so let's take last one concept of today's class, then we'll end this class. Okay, so one last concept of this. A sum of money placed at compound interest doubles itself in 4 years. In how many years will it amount to 8 times itself? Those who want to try, they can try. I'll be giving you 2 minutes, then I'll be telling you how to solve this question. Okay, so right answer is 12 years only. Let's see his conventional approach. So A is equals to 2P, right? So if I go according to the formula, A is equals to P into 1 plus R upon 100 per T. So I can rewrite this value as 2P. 2p is equals to, yes, we can solve it logically as well. So 1 plus r upon 100 power 4. Okay, this p and p gets cancelled. This will be 2 is equals to 1 plus r upon 100 power 4, right? The question is asking, it amounts to 8 times of itself. That means I need to make it 8p. I need to make it 8 times. So by which power I should raise this value to get 8? It is 3, right? And here also I need to raise it power 3. So this will become 8, but on the right hand side, if you raise this power, right, this will become 12, right? So that means on the left hand side as well, we raise it to the power 3, and on the right hand side, we raise it to the power this value. So whatever is happening, it will become this 4 into 3. Or in other words, you can say it is getting 2 in 4 years, right? It will get double. That means 4 in 8 years. It will get double. What? 8 times in 12 years. This is the logical way. This is the conventional way. Okay. If you may not be able to understand this value, go with this thing. And this is the last question. Where the question is asking about the rate percent. Okay, so let's do it with a conventional approach. Then I'll tell you its shortcut as well. So for example, the question is asking at what rate percent compound interest does a sum of money become 9 folds? See, in the question itself, we are only given with 2 years. 2 years, okay, time is given to us, and 9 folds. 9 folds means factor. Factor means, that means 8 times, 10 times, 20 times that factor. That is the factor. So let's, if I assume principal to be x, rate is equals to r percent, time is already given to us as 2 years. Okay, I need to make it a is equals to 9x, right? This is what the question is asking. So 9x is equals to x into 1 plus r power 100 power what, 2. So this x and x will get cancel out. This will be 9 is equals to 1 plus r power 100 square. If I underroot it, this will be 3 is equals to 1 plus r upon 100. So this will become 2 is equals to r upon 100. R turns out to be 200. This is the basic thing. This is the conventional approach. If I talk about its shortcut, so rate is directly or is equals to 100 into whatever the factor is there divided by 1 upon t minus 1. This is the shortcut formula. See, I'll tell you how it goes. See, as you can see here, I cross multiplied 100, right? So here I multiplied 100. Here you can see I underroot it. That means I took power 1 upon t, right? And here also I did what, minus 1. So this is how generally this value. So just always remember this, whatever the factor is given to you. factor will always either a squared value or a cube value. Only these two values will be given to you in such type of questions. Okay. So for generally for 2 years, it will be giving you squared value. For 3 years, it will be giving you cubic value. So you can remember the shortcut as well for finding the rate directly without even solving like this. Okay. Understood this thing? Okay, fine. So let's end this session. See, this 9x is what the question is mentioning about. It is becoming 9 folds. That means amount it will be become, right? So that is why I've taken 9x. It could have asked you 4 times, 16 times, because the question is asking about the 2 years only. This is the shortcut now. Here, where this value. This rate is equals to 100 into x. X is what the factor is. And upon 1 upon t. 1 upon t means whatever the years is given to us. That is 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. Okay. This is what shortcut is. Rate is equals to 100 x power 1 upon t minus 1. Okay. Fine. Thank you guys.